I'm Jeff Cornwall, and this is the Entrepreneurial Mind. Today my guest is Bill Burleigh with Operation Stand Down, Tennessee. We'll be back to talk to Bill after this.
Talkapolis programming is sponsored in part by the Center for Advanced Dentistry, now serving the greater Nashville area.
Welcome, Bill.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate you coming in and appreciate all you guys do for our veterans and the services you do. Tell us a little bit, let's go back in time and tell us a little bit of history about this organization. Because I think you told me it started in the late 90s, is that right?
Yes. In 1992, a group of concerned local citizens discovered there were veterans among the homeless population, and they wanted to try and do something. So they got to talking with folks, put together a coalition with the city, veteran service organizations, nonprofit organizations, social service agencies, and the VA, and held what they called a stand-down event. Stand down is a military term that means stop, take a break.
Right.
And so it went over tremendously. There were about 60 organizations involved in the first one in 1993, and it was held at Hadley Park on 3rd Avenue in Chestnut.
So was the issue that these organizations were all trying to do what they were trying to do, but there wasn't anything that brought them together to kind of focus on the common problem?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And so this organization was trying to pull that in to say we need to work on this problem. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right.
It was sort of like a smorgasbord of social services.
Sure. Which is typical in a lot of
Right.
nonprofit kind of spheres out there. Yeah.
And we continue to do that for the next 5, 6 years. You've heard the expression, if you give a person a fish, you fed them for a meal.
Right.
If you teach them how to fish, you've helped their whole lives.
Right.
With that concept in mind, and with the city's assistance, Stand Down became a full-time organization in the summer of 1999. And with the connections developed through the once-a-year 3-day stand-down events, we could either provide services or we know who to go to. So we've grown since then in the last 16 years from 1 staff to 40 staff, and we've grown from virtually nothing to a $2.5 million organization.
And you were originally just a volunteer board member, and what, you were late for a meeting, so they put you in charge? Is that how it worked out?
Kind of. Well, when we looked at becoming full-time, at that time I was not. I had rotated off, and they were looking for more variety of people to put together a feasibility study.
Right.
And I joined the board again, and started off, I was the treasurer, and then after a while we said, well, we've got 1 employee and we're going to need more. Several board members are doing different things, and it was growing, so we're going to need an executive director. And so we looked around, we put together what we thought would be a good job description.
Right.
And again, we're still all volunteers and just varying experiences in life trying to make this thing grow. And I was working for another company, and it was okay, but being a 26-year veteran, I really enjoyed what we were doing to provide services for all veterans and their families and to help out.
Well, it had to tear your heart out to hear the stories of these guys. I
Well,
mean, you know, what they had done to serve, and then where they were in life at this point.
It does, but even more rewarding is the ability that we can help them.
Right.
We can point them in the right direction. We
You help them with
understand.
housing, you help them with employment. What else do you guys?
Anything and everything that a veteran and his family need.
Right.
We have funds that can assist with catching up on rent and utilities to prevent
Right.
people from becoming homeless.
Right.
We can work with employment, and we're like an employment agency on steroids, in that everything, our job is not just to get a person a job or help them get a job, but to help them get that job and maintain it for 9 months. So we develop a relationship between the employer, the employee, and us. And so if they need clothes, if they need specialty tools like steel-toed boots, how are they going to get to to the interviews, how they're going to get to work.
Right.
You know, when you get a job and you've been out of work for a while, you may not have money for food. So we give them a food basket that'll last a week or so. So all these things, our job, everything we do in every program we have at our organization is geared towards long-term sustainment. We meet them where they are, deal with the immediate needs, but we also provide training, counseling, whatever's needed. So, okay, what's going to prevent this? What other problems do you have? And how can we work you so that 6, 8, 9 months from now, you no longer need a nonprofit like us to help you live responsibly.
So how many veterans have you guys helped and assisted?
The last 15 years,
yeah.
Many thousands. Employment's well over 10,000 over the last 15 years.
Wow.
And it's we're all throughout Middle Tennessee. Primarily is where we provide direct services, Davidson County and all the contiguous counties, plus Dixon and Montgomery County. But we've helped the stand down concept, which is the community coming together to help veterans in their area. And we've started stand downs in Huntsville, Alabama, Chattanooga, Tennessee,
I was just going to ask if
Memphis.
You're starting to expand this outward now.
Yeah, we've got a Clarksville office.
Are there other parts of the country where this is being done too, or?
The concept of the community, yes. It actually started in San Diego, California in 1989.
Okay.
And that's what got a local group of people thinking, well, if they've got veterans and homeless veterans in San Diego, do we have here? And in talking with MDHA folks said yes. And so primarily some folks that were with the Tennessee Department of Veterans Affairs at the time and some other veteran service organizations and got together and said, well, what can we do to help as a community? And in fact, it was Mayor Phil Bredesen at the time,
right,
who later became governor, of course, and he was all behind getting it started and was very instrumental with a lot of Nashville's resources. The Tennessee National Guard provided tents and equipment and people and support, and of course the VA Medical Center, the Davidson County General Sessions Court set up a General Sessions Court. You know, when people have legal issues, it doesn't matter if it's misdemeanor or felony. If you do background checks, all the employer finds out, well, the police are looking for you.
Yeah.
And well, that prevents you from getting jobs so that you cannot become
right,
a tax-paying, contributing citizen. And also it keeps you from getting housing a lot of times.
Right.
So there's just a lot of things that you fall into that hole, you know, when you're having troubles in life and you don't know how to get out. And veterans are taught to be independent. They're taught that people are going to depend on them.
Right.
They're part of a team.
Hard for them to ask.
And it's, yes,
yeah,
it's very hard, and they don't know how to ask. In the military environment, everything is provided that a person needs to live and do what they need in the military, except for two things: a spouse and a house.
Right.
And other than that, everything is right there in the unit. If you don't know, you can ask. You know, the information comes to you. You're all self-contained. Your life is. When you get out, it's just not to. You just don't know where to go sometimes for information or how to explain the experiences that you've had in the military so that people who haven't served kind of understand. You know, what you see on TV nowadays are just pictures of somebody going through a neighborhood with a rifle.
Right.
Well, for every one person involved in a combat role, there are 8 to 9 people
sure,
backing them up to get them the supplies, the transportation, the logistics, the clerical,
healthcare, everything,
cooks,
yep,
all these different things to get them point to where they can be successful doing their job out front.
Well, thank you for all you do, and what a wonderful service for Nashville and beyond. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Okay.